Stay with Sportsworld. Keith Hillier has joined us, as always, from 3UZ. How are you, Keith?
I'm well, thanks, Bruce. And great racing in Sydney yesterday and also in New Zealand, where Rough Habit made it 8 on end, and his jockey, Michael Boyce, said he went down the straight with a loop in the reins. That's how easy the win was of Rough Habit.
Gee, this is a good horse. I mean, we've often talked about Brisbane form not quite measuring up to spring form and autumn form, but this horse looks the real thing, doesn't he?
Jim Cassidy, I think, is now leading to Rough Habit as his Cox Plate ride. And Mick Dittman is waiting in the shadows in case Jim decides to stay with Shaftesbury Avenue.
Gee, so a couple of the top jockeys there, very keen. Max Presnell joins us from the Sydney Morning Herald. Max, welcome once again to the program. Before we talk about Sydney, did you go to Brisbane and have a look at Rough Habit during the winter?
Yes, Bruce. I was most impressed with Rough Habit, particularly on rain-affected tracks. I think he's a handy horse on any track, but on a rain-affected track, I think he verges on the champion class. And certainly, speaking to Jim Cassidy yesterday at Randwick, he gave me the impression he would be getting off Shaftesbury Avenue and riding Rough Habit in the Cox Plate.
Gee, it's a big rap, Keith, because Jim's been a big fan of Shaftesbury Avenue, hasn't he? He's had some tremendous wins on that horse, and if he's now leaning towards Rough Habit, then that's a good guide.
Well, he pulled the wrong rein, as you will remember, and it cost him a Melbourne Cup win last season. And I was so impressed with the run of Shaftesbury Avenue in the Feehan Stakes at Moonee Valley last start that I wonder whether he's gone the wrong way again, Bruce.
It was a terrific run, Shaftesbury Avenue, on a track that didn't suit him. Let's go back and talk Sydney racing yesterday, Max. The George Main, Big Dreams was a very short price favourite. I was a bit surprised that he was at 10 to 9 on. So
was I, Bruce, and certainly I wouldn't have taken the 10 to 9 on. Big Dreams was given his pressure test and he failed. Still, he's a promising 3-year-old. He was very much on the toe before the race. He raced a bit fresh, but he was up against a top-class field of weight-for-age performers, and he was found wanting over the last 50 metres. But Big Dreams can still be a force in 3-year-old events, I think, in the coming weeks.
We're about to have a look at the race, Max. There was a double protest here. Was it controversial? What was the feeling at the track?
Well, the feeling at the track, and my feeling after listening to the evidence, seeing the stewards' films, the cases that were put before the stewards, I would have upheld the protest. I would have given the race to Kinjite. I did think Flying Luskin, who finished 4th and was also involved in the protests, he suffered severe interference, was beaten about 1.25 lengths. Pretty hard to switch the placings under those circumstances, but it was a close thing. I'm sure had the finishing margin been a head and not a neck, John Schreck and his stewards would have upheld the protest. He intimated that to me later, but he didn't think that the neck that Planet Ruler scored by he felt it was enough to keep the race. There was interference from the inside, minor scrimmaging caused by Quick Score, the 3rd place getter. That affected his decision, but I did think that Planet Ruler came in, did bump Kinjite. I did think there was about a neck in it. I would have upheld the protest. A close call. I disagree with the stewards, though.
OK, that's a fair comment. Let's go to the race, the George Main Stakes, and have a look at the win by Planet Ruler yesterday.
And now they're starting to spread out as Stylish Century puts on the speed over the crossing at the 800 mark, and it's Stylish Century by about 3 to Stargazer, 2 to Big Dreams on the outside of Royal Creation, a bit more than 2 lengths away Bold Rancher, a neck to Quick Score, 2.5 to Flying Luskin, followed by Dual Treasures, a long gap to Gads Hill and Kinjite, and then Movil Peter and Planet Ruler as they come to the turn where Stylish Century is well clear, led by more than 2 lengths on Stargazer. Big Dreams 3rd, moving up, and then Royal Creation under pressure, followed by Quick Score, Bold Rancher and Flying Luskin at the head of the others coming over the rise. Here's Big Dreams going up to them quickly, and Big Dreams with the pull in the weights hit the front on top of the rise over Stargazer, who's running a bit of a race. Quick Score further out with Flying Luskin, and here comes Planet Ruler down the outside. It's many, one of 5 or 6 can win. Planet Ruler on the extreme outside, and Quick Score, they've come away. Planet Ruler going best. Kinjite late on the scene, but Planet Ruler wins the George Main from either Quick Score or Kinjite.
Keith, he's been a tremendous horse with these 2 Gadsden wins and must now be an Epsom chance, Planet Ruler.
Yes, he has, Bruce, and he is too, but I thought that Quick Score, who has only 51.5 kilos in the Epsom, was the eye-catching run in that. I'm also glad that Max is a journalist and not a steward.
you disagree with him? Or did you back Planet Ruler?
A little something.
Oh, good on you, Keith. Lovely to back a winner. Let's have a look at the Dulcify quality. Now, this should be a good guide to the Spring Champion Stakes and maybe a guide to the Victoria Derby, and the grey wins very well here from the Lee Friedman stable, Sub-Zero.
And Shushtar takes over now from Beowulf. In third place, Sub-Zero. Then Silence Please and Glen Post, followed by Kiwi Flight, St. Michel. Embassy Square is now getting out into the clear. At the head of the others, Gifted Poet, followed by Relaxing Racing and Oz McGinty as they turn the corner into the straight, and it's Beowulf and Shushtar, the two leaders. The grey Sub-Zero claims them quickly, and then Glen Post and Silence Please, followed by Embassy Square, not doing enough at the moment. Sub-Zero drew clear at the 200 mark from Shushtar, followed by Beowulf. Glen Post is running on, and then Embassy Square. Sub-Zero clear with 100 to go, has got it safely parcelled up. Embassy Square doing his best work in the last bit will get second. Beowulf battles on for third.
So, Max, how do we line that one up with Kinjite and Big Dreams and the George Main?
You really can't line them up, Bruce, because the race was run very slowly. Sub-Zero is a horse, a 3-year-old with considerable ability. I won't rule him out. But I do think Embassy Square will improve. I do think that the Kinjite effort was much stronger, run at a better pace. I would certainly rather be backing Kinjite than Sub-Zero in the Spring Champion Stakes next Saturday.
OK, so there's a tip for the Spring Champion Stakes. Metropolitan's on next Monday. It's one of the feature staying races in Australia, and the Colin Stephen yesterday should provide a good guide. Let's have a look at this race with Pontiac Lass successful.
As they near the turn, Pontiac Lass is going to be carted off the track. Rural Prince has run into a spot of bother, and so has Garter King, who's got nowhere to go. Heads a turn for home now at the 400 mark. Princeville led, Masochistic running a big race at big odds, and here comes Solar Circle. Further out is Pontiac Lass, followed by Initial Approach, Pompeius, and down the outside now Guile is starting to run on strongly. Pontiac Lass and Solar Circle have hit the lead together with about 150 to go. Guile and Magnolia Hall is now swooshing down the outside. Pontiac Lass is in front, close to home over Magnolia Hall and Guile. Pontiac Lass, Magnolia Hall swamping it but couldn't make it, and Pontiac Lass has just beaten Magnolia Hall. Now third, there's Guile.
So, Max, where do we look there? I think she's a stablemate of the Phantoms, that one. Where do we look for Metropolitan from that race?
It's a difficult race to assess, Bruce, because the winner, Pontiac Lass, will improve. Magnolia Hall undoubtedly should have won. Solar Circle will be much fitter for the race. Again, Garter King didn't have the best of luck in running, neither did Moods. They were bunched up behind the winner. A number of good runs in the event. Just hard to shuffle and to sort them out, but let's have another week to think about it. Of course, I do think plenty of those stayers in that event will figure in the top Melbourne staying events too.
Sounds a bit like my Melbourne Cup tips, doesn't it?
It does a bit. You said it, thrown a few in there, and also 3 races down, 2 Melbourne wins. What's to come, Bruce?
For the last.
Yes.
And, gee, Somalia looked the winner here, didn't he? Absolutely home and hose and Rechabite. Good training performance here. Scratched from the Showday Cup on Thursday because of the heavy track at Caulfield. Goes up to Sydney, and this is a flying finish. Let's go to the last in Sydney yesterday and watch for Rechabite.
To the turn inside the 600 mark, Netcirc the leader over Marinella. Twiglet hasn't been on the track. She's moving up to make a line of 3 on the corner. He's blushing, tracks them into the straight, followed by Majestic Drums, and then Be Able Post-Elect. Rechabite and Brunch Time not getting a lot of room, and Somalia down the extreme outside as they top the hill. It's Netcirc, Marinella, Twiglet joining in Somalia with a big run. He was last to leave the barrier, but he's hit the front now, Somalia. Somalia draws clear of Twiglet. Running on is Rechabite, followed by Post-Elect. He's blushing, doing absolutely nothing. Dittman's got to pull out. All stops on Somalia. Rechabite is overhauling him rapidly and right on the line. I think he got up. I think Rechabite in the last stride from Somalia, who had it shot to bits but faded. Be Able in a photo for third.
Well, Rechabite now into Epsom calculations. Hate to have backed Somalia yesterday, Max.
Yes, Somalia hates me, Bruce. He realised he was carrying mine. He saw the winning post and he said, not today, Max. But he is a horse of tremendous talent. The Squatters Handicap traditionally isn't a good guide for the Epsom. Did you note Mick Dittman and the way he tried to get Somalia home for me? Well, Mick disclosed after the last race yesterday that he's not riding on Wednesday. He has tremendous trouble with a shoulder. He's going to have needle treatment on the shoulder to get himself 100% right for next Saturday. There wasn't much wrong with him yesterday, incidentally, but Mick reminded me of a footballer. Needles and shoulders, but nevertheless, what a great rider, and certainly he'll be back in action at his best next Saturday.
Good on you, Max. Thanks for joining us today. Good luck next week with the Epsom, etc. And we'll see you when you get down to Melbourne. And what about Keith? He's claimed Planet Ruler's a Victorian. Queenslander, trained in South Australia at Lindsay Park. God, they're not bad, are they? Hey? Good on you, Max. Keith, don't go away.
I think a Melbourne horse might win in... a Sydney horse might win in Melbourne this afternoon.
Yeah, I've got a feeling it might too. His name's Terse. We'll take a break back with Show Day Racing and then look at Terse after this.
On Beyond.
Caulfield Cup winner to pull ground off him in the straight, so don't take anything away from him. And Prince O'Leary, my early Caulfield Cup tip, didn't let me down either.
No, he was pretty good. What about Shiva's Revenge in third placing and Weekend Delight in fourth placing? You've mentioned hard to make ground. I thought both those horses from the Cummings stable were pretty good, weren't they?
Especially Shiva's Revenge, not suited underweight for age conditions, and that was a great run for a handicapper.
Well, they're looking Melbourne Cups for Shiva's Revenge, and he's now the favourite. Let's go to the Underwood Stakes. Terrific race. Many of the best weight for age performers in Australia here. Durbridge took up the front running, and that's where we picked them up.
On the railway side, 900 metres out, and Durbridge being tackled for the lead by Dr. Grace. 2.5 lengths away, Prince O'Leary. A half then to Shiva's Revenge. A length and a half to Citizen, nicely positioned on the inside of Mountain Ruler. Making ground next to Zel Maheb, followed by Weekend Delight, and back behind them is Lord Revenue. A length and a half, Springthor second last, and still last of all is Brashi. 600 metres left to go, and Durbridge being joined by Dr. Grace. And Dr. Grace has got his head in front of Durbridge on the home turn. A length away, Prince O'Leary starting to run on. 2 lengths further back is Shiva's Revenge on the outside of Citizen. They're followed by Weekend Delight, but Dr. Grace has kicked away on the home turn. He's out full of running as they straighten up, and Dr. Grace 2 lengths to Durbridge. In third place then Prince O'Leary, Citizen down the outside, followed by Shiva's Revenge. 200 metres left to go, and Dr. Grace is well clear. Citizen running on strongly, followed by Prince O'Leary, but Dr. Grace 3 lengths to Citizen at the 100-metre mark. Prince O'Leary back behind them, Dr. Grace in front. Citizen is flying home, but Dr. Grace has got it won. Dr. Grace a half length to Citizen. Shiva's Revenge was a big run third, followed by Weekend Delight, Prince O'Leary.
Yes, they've already had some good duels this spring, Dr. Grace and Citizen. Shiva's Revenge, a terrific performance. Shane Dye's got a big habit of looking around, hasn't he? It's something that you'd normally say don't do to a jockey, but he's so successful it's hard to criticise him.
He rode a very skillful race, Bruce, putting pressure on Durbridge, who didn't handle the rain-affected track, and Shane back on Dr. Grace after missing the previous 2 rides. I excused him for looking around. I thought he rode well.
He's a sensational jockey. Let's have a look at the Underwood Stakes in recent years and just see what the winners of the Underwood have done for the remainder of the spring. And Keith, it's an imposing list. The Phantom, second in the Melbourne Cup. Almirad won the Cox Plate after the Underwood. Rubiton won the Cox Plate. Bone Crusher won the Cox Plate. Tristark won the Caulfield Cup. You look at that and you think, well, Dr. Grace, everything's rosy, isn't it?
Yes, it is. In fact, it's a race that you must take notice of, and those stats show that. And also, it's a race with the 3rd and 4th place getters that might give Bart another Melbourne Cup or
well, he's
a
won 8.
Caulfield Cup.
Gee, I'm keen on Weekend Delight in the Caulfield Cup. I just thought she looked just a little short of a run, and it was a terrific performance.
Is this one new to your list, Bruce?
Put her at the top, Keith.
At the top now?
Right at the top. Her and
Okay.
Shiva's Revenge. I just love the runs. Didn't like Prince O'Leary as much as you
Bart
did.
double now.
Well, why not?
Okay.
He's done it before.
Sure.
A few
sure.
times. You're not arguing?
No, I'm not arguing, but I'm adding them to the list.
Oh, good on you. OK, Show Day Cup. Did you back St Jude?
No, but I admired his run. He's a gutsy little fellow. He never runs a bad race. He had the top weight, and he fought on like a bulldog. I love watching him.
He's a terrific horse, and there were 2 very good runs. Cold Diesel and Our Dawn Star. Let's go to the Show Day Cup.
800 to go. Noble Lancer by a length. The Premier Copper. Storaya third. They're followed by St Jude over on the inside of Beaver called Impeteric. Mr Till on the inside is improving his position. A length then to Mamselle Perdue. Blonjev behind them. Comrade. They're followed by Kirkside. A length to Wild Prince Orminium. Cold Diesel. Diamond Zephyr. Our Dawn Star. And Run Straight runners last of all as they come up towards the home turn. With 450 to go. Noble Lancer held together by a length. The Premier Copper. A length and a half. St Jude east to the outside to get a crack at the leaders. Followed by Impeteric. Mr Till. Comrade. Very wide aisle, followed by Mamselle Perdue. They're homeward bound. Noble Lancer with a handy break, led by a length and a half. Here comes St Jude with a great run down the outside, and wider on the track as Comrade. Noble Lancer being tackled by St Jude, is running on resolutely. St Jude has taken the lead with 100 metres left to go, and he's got it well won, St Jude. He's a top galloper, and St Jude races home to a big victory. St Jude is first. Our Dawn Star Flying will get to second, and a nose away third, a big run, Cold Diesel.
Well, historically, a great performance by St Jude. He carried 57. The previous highest weight to victory in that race was Raffendale and Cup Dundee. Both carried 55.5, so it's an outstanding performance. What do you make of Our Dawn Star? He's a 7-year-old. He's steamed home in the Bobby Lewis and steamed home there. Is he a horse we should be following, or one that we should be wary of?
Well, he's going to be better suited at maybe 2,000 metres, Bruce, but as you pointed out, he's 7 and maybe there's little improvement left for him, but I think he'll win a race, not a top-class one.
Cold Diesel?
Cold Diesel's on the comeback trail, and Noble Lancer trying to do something that no 3-year-old had done since Manikato, was courageous in defeat too, I thought.
OK, what about the winner? Where does he go from here? We talked about Underwood Stakes, Cox Plate. Is St Jude a Cox Plate horse?
I thought just a couple of lengths off that.
Yeah.
Always would give his best, but I doubt whether he could win one.
Maybe the Toorak handicap,
That'd be
something
a nice race, sure.
OK, he is a very versatile horse. OK, today it's the Bill Stutt Stakes at Moonee Valley in Victoria. For people watching the program in Victoria, it used to be the Moonee Valley Stakes. This is the lineup. Terse at the top. He's going to be very hard to beat. Did he do it? Prince of Praise, Roger John, Ready to Explode, Charleston Party, Natchez Bold, Kaimamur and Our Bold Cruiser. What is he, 3 to 1 on or something?
He's 3 to 1 on. Roger John is an interesting runner. He's a New Zealander. He's had 10 wins and 11 minor placings from about 24 or 25 starts, but I think Terse will treat that field with contempt, really. Betting, of course, is open with the TAB as well as on the track today in Victoria, but they're doing that in Western Australia for the first time too, Bruce, and a meeting at Kalgoorlie there, but New South Wales, it's a betting-free day in that state. OK,
let's have a look at Terse winning the Ascot Vale again. Shane Dye mentioned in this race that he had some problems and that he didn't really go that well up the straight. He got on the wrong leg. He got up through on the inside. He beat Noble Lancer, who you've just talked about, very narrowly in a photo. And the only thing with the Moonee Valley track today, some good horses have been beaten there. Vane was his only defeat in Victoria when Darrell's Joy beat him in the Moonee Valley Stakes. We're going back a long way, Keith.
That was the first running of the Ascot Vale Stakes. It has been a guide to today's race because Kortza and Zetatave have won the Ascot Vale and gone under in this race, which was formerly known as the Moonee Valley Stakes, now the Bill Stutt Stakes. But we're watching a race that's run on a dead track, and Terse wins it in 1:8.9, which is the fastest Ascot Vale Stakes run since it was introduced for Vane's inaugural year.
I think the terrific thing about him, he's on the fence 3rd at the moment. Prince of Praise is just outside of him and in front of him, and Noble Lancer's 3 off. His will to win now. He's won 8 straight and he's only been beaten twice. Now he gets rid of Prince of Praise there, and at this stage Noble Lancer's got him beaten, Keith. He's 3/4 of a length in front and going just as well.
Dye whipping quite severely there. Noble Lancer under hands and heels. You'd want to be on Noble Lancer, but as you said, will to win won the day, Bruce.
Well, if he's going to win the Cox Plate, and he is the super horse, he'll win at Moonee Valley today, and I'm sure that his presence is going to attract a lot of people there. Let's hope he wins. I mean, racing needs a superstar, and this could be it.
Well, Melbourne people, they take to any champions, you know, whether it be a boxer or whether it be a racehorse. And they've taken to Terse. He's only 3 and they love him already, and he won't let them down today. No doubts about that.
OK, looks a good thing. What about the Melbourne Caulfield Cup? Let's look at the Caulfield Cup market. You mentioned Rough Habit at the beginning of the program. He's on the top line. He's an unlikely starter, though, isn't he?
Most doubtful. I'd say he would miss the race. Dr. Grace, I think, will run in both cups and maybe the Cox Plate as well. Doc Chapman has indicated that. Shiva's Revenge will definitely run. Prince Saleri, this is the race he's been set for. I'm still keen on him. And your selection, Weekend Delight, I agree with you. I think she's in with a top chance. I think the winner's in that top half a dozen. OK, Melbourne Cup, Shiva's Revenge 8 to 1. Look, I just don't take 8 to 1 wherever you are, because you'll get 6 to 1 the field on the day. What about Brashy? Would you like the 12s off me, Keith? I'll give you 14s if you like. No, Bruce, you wouldn't tempt me with 44s at the moment. It's really not going well enough. Castletown's an interesting runner, but I'm sure that market, more than the Caulfield Cup, will change in the next 2 or few weeks. And matter of fact, I think the Melbourne Cup favourite on the day was not on the screen then. That's how much it'll change. I don't think any of those... I was going to say, do you actually know who it'll be? No, I don't. Oh, right, you're just making it up. Yes. Oh, thanks, Keith. See you at the Valley today? Yeah, sure. You're going out to watch Terse? Yes, sir. OK. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Keith. See you in a fortnight. All right. Good punting. We take a break. Plenty more after this.